What's up, historians and fellow dorks? Innistrad Midnight Hunt spoilers are currently dropping, and we're going to let you know which cards will be worth crafting. On this, please slow down with all the products, wizards, you're giving us an anxiety attack episode of Mana Rant. But first, I'm Hoshi, your host, and he who can barely read. Hooked on phonics did not work for me, as anyone who watched last week's episode can tell. I talked about throes of chaos, and I think I called it theros of chaos or theories of chaos. I was going to put a clip of it on here of me like screwing up saying it over and over again. But just me watching it almost gave me a brain aneurysm last week. So yeah. I can't do it to you guys.
Now you know how I feel every time I just have a regular conversation with your ass. You know, I feel like I'm about to have a fucking aneurysm like almost immediately.
Yeah, fair. I get that. And as always, I'm joined by a man who refers to his erectile dysfunction as a case of the old zombie dick. Well, hopefully he can afford some of those resurrection pills. We have DrunkenDork.
What is up, everyone? When I read this, like there's writing involved in this. You know, we are doing a lot of this on the fly, but we also do a bit of writing ahead of time. And Hoshi generally makes these intros. And I was reading the intro, I was like, what the fuck is this? And like, so I make little animations for the bottom corners. I'm like, I don't even know what to add in my damn animation because I don't know. I don't know. But yeah, that's what I did. Yeah, my wiener is just not working these days, I guess. Thank you, Hoshi. Thank you.
You're welcome. I thought you already told everybody, so whoops.
It's all good.
Oh, well. Anyways, also, as you can see, our long-lost co-host is still gone. I'm talking about Michael Apollo, supposedly in Air Force boot camp, or has he been abducted by aliens who were studying his small brain by vigorously probing him? It's all possible. As far as we know.
Either his small brain or how someone can consume as much as he can. You know, he had like it's pretty magnificent when you see it in the wild.
That's true. Yeah, he is a marvel when it comes to like eating out of a pig trough, basically, or at least yes. he used to be. So that would be well worth studying. Anyways, thank you for joining us. We are the Mana Dorks, a couple of friends / idiots who love Magic and have been playing the game for most of our lives. And you are listening to the Mana Rant podcast, where we talk about everything in Magic, the Gathering, but mainly focus on the historic format, our current love. And our show segments move through the phases of Magic, with our main phases being our main show topics. And tonight that's going to be our Innistrad spoiler picks. Time hacks, as well as a full breakdown of the episode, will be in the description below. Now let's jump straight into the show with our Untap phase.
Untap.
And Untap is a quick phase where we just untap some drinks. So, Drunken, what are you drinking tonight?
I am going strong. Still got this kegerator back here. As long as my wife allows it, it's going to be there. And I'm going to be constantly consuming. Like I said last week, you're just going to see me start ballooning as episodes go. This is going to be my video journal of, like, usually, like, there's before and after of, like, people going through workout regimes. But me, it's going to be a drinking regime.
It's like the exact opposite.
Yeah, exactly.
You should
and
do
I just
that.
got a, what is this? A hazy pale ale is one of my taps. So yeah.
Nice, dude. Haze Deep. That sounds pretty good. What's any flavors to it, or is it just a like standard IPA?
It's like real fruity, like real citrusy. I don't know. It's really good.
Okay, cool. Nice. I was on the road all this week, and I got to go by a Sprouts, which is kind of like another Whole Foods type store, and they had a bunch of these hard kombuchas, which I really enjoy these. I know a lot of people don't like kombucha, which I get, but this one has alcohol in it, so it makes it okay. And this one is Strange Beast, and it's 7%, and it's got ginger, lemon, and hibiscus, and it's really good. Man, I wish I had a Sprouts by me so I could just get more of this stuff. But yeah, anyways, cheers.
This is a shocker. This is like a first for you. No, like ridiculous hoity-toity whiskey drinks for you today. No bourbon, nothing.
I was excited to drink these. I like hard kombucha, like I said. And I have to wake up at a somewhat recent time tomorrow, so I don't need to wake up on my kitchen floor or anything, so, yeah.
Smart.
Yeah.
Using the old whatever you got left in there.
I try every once in a while. Anyways, cheers, DrunkenDork, and cheers to everybody out there.
Yeah, cheers, everyone.
All right. Let's get into the show with our Upkeep.
Upkeep, get ya Upkeep.
All right, so Upkeep is our Reddit rant segment where we look to the internet for people ranting about Magic the Gathering. And this week, we'll be visiting the Facebook MTG Arena group, or Magic the Gathering Arena MTG group, sorry. So,
and this is basically, I think this is like the historic group, isn't it? They just like changed the name. It's like mostly historic topics generally.
I think so.
Or no?
I think.
Yeah, I think it is.
I think you're right. Yeah, I don't recognize. They must have just changed the name of it. But
I believe they did. Yeah.
Yeah. Anyways, let's look at Joshua. And Joshua this week is ranting about, let's get into some more paranoia fringe type things about the shuffler and the matchmaker. And let's get into a Reddit rant investigation with Joshua here. So, I've seen a few comments on the following topics, and I'm starting to believe it a bit. Does anyone here ever build a deck with a specific strategy, and then, game one, you face off against a deck with some obscure cards that rarely see play, but is the worst thing your deck could possibly face? Examples. I played around with the idea of Mono Black Reanimator. First game, before it even starts, my opponent drops a Leyline of the Void. I've never seen it played other than as a sideboard. Dude is main decking it. Built it bounce, banned. All come into play triggers. They drop turn 2 Hushbringer, much more common and easily removed than the mono black as with an enchantment, but come on! There are more examples, and I'm not screaming conspiracy here, or is he? But it's happening often enough that I've given the possibility some merit.
Yeah, Joshua. Okay.
What do you think, Duncan?
Yeah, there is like, man, I feel like you've really been hitting home with me picking these. I don't see these ahead of time generally. I like the suspense of you reading it to me and then like me having an aneurysm when you like misread something, Yeah. But this one and like the past few, like, dude, this kind of shit happens to me all the time, especially because I'm, I like to brew up some wild brews sometimes. I'm like, oh yeah, this is going to be really good in the meta, except, it's going to be really bad except against this one archetype. And I feel like I go out and I play and like 3 out of the 5 games I play are like versus that one type that my deck goes bad against. And I'm like, what in the actual fuck is going on right now with Arena? And so I feel you, Joshua.
Yeah.
I feel you.
Yeah. I felt this one hit perfectly because, this week, like Tybalt's trickery was making my brain bleed at certain points. I was so sick of seeing it. So
everyone else too.
Yeah, I am not the only one, right? So like you shared a link about people that were like, talking about hate cards for it, which I love building hate strategies for like powerful decks like that. So I made I actually made Orzhov humans, and it had a bunch of hate built in for Tybalt's Trickery, because I played like 7 Tybalt Trickery decks in a row. You know, I was like, are you fucking kidding me? So I built that deck, and I was like, all right, here we go, you know? And so no Tybalt Trickery decks after that. I went like 15 games without like running into one. I was like, what the hell? Like, I'm ready, bring it on, you know? And then just, so, you know what, Joshua, I feel you, and I think you're onto something. Yeah. On this Reddit rant investigation. Well, I think Joshua's onto something. If you see someone else out there that's onto something in a Reddit rant investigation, send it our way. You know, I might.
Or if it's just like straight up hilarious, you know, please absolutely send it our way.
Or yeah, or just a random lunatic on the internet. We like those too. Those are good. Those are sometimes our favorites. So yeah, all right, let's move on to our draw phase.
Let's draw.
All right, and so draw is a little combo phase that we have, and so we're gonna start it off with MTG news with our favorite big-headed anchor, DrunkenDork. So, DrunkenDork, I know we have some codes this week. Do you have those codes available for us?
I know one of them is Scale Up, and that one's good. That one's 3,000 points experience is what it adds to your like progress, which is actually pretty good because
Mastery.
I finished out my Mastery, yeah. It finished it out for me. I think I had like 3 levels left, and it was just like, boom, immediately done.
Nice.
And the even better one is, I don't remember what it's called. What is it?
Parcel Mayor.
Yeah, Mirror. Parcel Mirror.
Yeah, Mirror. Yeah.
Yeah, that one's great because it comes with like 5 or 2 rare cards and like 3 card styles, right?
Yeah, and gold.
Then gold and then experience as well.
Yeah, that was their like, we're sorry that the client is completely jacked up and has been like ruining people's lives. So it's been
There
bad.
was a point in time where I turned on Arena, and I didn't even like, I had decks, and I should have taken a screenshot of it. I had decks in my deck profiles that I haven't had in like a year, and they were just there. I was like, what the fuck what is this doing here? Like, and none of the decks that I play were there. It was just a bunch of old ass decks that I made.
Oh, that's crazy.
Yeah, it was super bizarre. What a weird glitch.
Yeah, there's been a whole bunch recently. But yes, so that was news. There really wasn't that much. There was I think the other thing was there was a banned and restricted, but it was for Pauper. So, you know, nothing for us there. Anyways, let's go into the other part of draw, which is, hey, what have we been playing this week? Drunken, take it away.
So I've been playing a lot of Magic once again. I think Arena is super healthy right now. Maybe not Historic so much, but with things like these midweek madnesses that they're doing, or whatever the fuck they call them. They had Pauper last week, and I talked about it extensively. This week it's Artesian, or Artisan, or Artisan.
Artisan.
Anyway, Artisan. There we go. Jeez. Anyway, I have been playing a shit ton of this. I made a Reanimator deck that is super sweet, and unlike last week, this week we're talking about it while it's live. So if you have a chance and you haven't played it yet, you should go in there. If you don't have the deck, you could go to our Aether Hub account, and which will be in show notes. Should be in the show notes. Yeah. And you can go find my deck there. It's super sweet. Like, I feel like, so I've been winning probably about 4 out of 5 games I've been playing. And then like maybe 20% of the time I'm winning, they just see me like play a Stitcher Supplier, followed by another like graveyard, like deck to graveyard card, and they'll see like a Reanimator spell in my graveyard and like a big ass creature, and then they just concede. Like, that's how freaking powerful it is. Like, I don't think people are expecting it in Artisan, but but it's really, really good. And then another thing I want to talk about was, like you were just saying, because the format is like so specific right now, you're seeing a whole fucking lot of Tybalt's Trickery and that other Flicker card, the one that has Evoke.
Yeah.
I see a lot of those two decks. So I try to make a Hate Bears deck, which is like I love those style of decks. That was really good for the meta. And it is like pretty much, I'd say like 3 out of every 4 times I go against Tybalt's Trickery with that deck, I win. They just can't do anything against it, because I have enough hate in there to just hate him out. And then also with that Evoke deck, it's also really good against it. It's better when they have what's the vampire, Blood Artist, opposed to the other vampire. But it still works really well, and it still can handle that deck pretty good. The problem is it's really bad against elves, and I feel like every fucking time I go on and I'll play like 3 elf decks in a row. Like elves are still so popular in the format, and it's not surprising because they're powerful. They're super powerful.
Absolutely. Yeah, and if you spent the rares to get that elf deck too, you're like not just gonna abandon it, So I totally get why people play it. I mean, it's a very rare heavy deck to be able to get, and specific rares, right? Like we talk about that where like if you built that deck, right, those cards aren't usable in anything else. So a lot of people want to like get their money out of that deck. So yeah, I feel you. I'm the same way. I was playing against a ton of elves when I was playing my hate deck too, and I was like, what the hell, where's
it's really bad because like hate bears are good against like mono red aggro, Gruul aggro, Tybalt's Trickery, the Evoke deck or whatever it's called. But like, else it just cannot. It's just way too wide. Yeah, and it just can't deal with it. And man, I mean, like the thing is, like, else to me, it is a really cool deck. It's nice that it's in our format, but it just plays out the same way like every single time. So to me, it just gets really boring to play. Absolutely, nothing against you if you play it. If you like that style of playing and you play it, do it. Yeah. But like something like Hate Bears is like really my bread and butter when it comes to Magic because like it really is about like methodical thinking of like what your opponent's playing. You know, like
it's much more interactive.
You can generally. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Way more interactive. Like you can kind of see like as they play spells, like, okay, they turn to cycled that one card. So you're like, okay, they want to make a treasure. More than likely they're playing Tybalt's Trickery. So rather than turn 2, I'm going to playing like Scavenging Ooze, I'm going to play, I don't know, something else. That card that doesn't allow them to cast cards outside of their hand. So
I know which one you're talking about. The
Drannith Magistrate.
Yes, exactly.
So like it kind of opens up like a thought process there of really like knowing the meta and knowing your deck and your opponent's deck. And it just turns out to be a really fun. It just sucks against elves. All there is to it.
Yeah, I mean, but that's any deck that you play, right? Like any deck is always going to have like a weak part against it, like that. Like our Reddit ranter was talking about, like it just happens. You always run into, and it seems like he was saying, I feel like almost the client does try to find whatever your weakness is, like at some points, and put you against it. It almost feels like that. Maybe that's just paranoia.
Absolutely does.
It feels like it does though.
It's like the rock, paper, scissors of Magic, right? Like if one deck was good against everything, then everyone would play it and it'd be boring. And that's why cards get banned. So yeah, it's nice that you have that. Just sucks when exactly. Like the Reddit ranter was saying.
You're like, yay, new deck I'm going to try out. And then Arena's like, the fuck you are.
No, you. Yeah.
Yeah. I got something for you, buddy.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. For me, I didn't get a chance to play this much. I was on the road this week, but I did get to make like that Orzhov Humans deck that I was talking about, and man, it is sweet. There's a lot of good hate in that deck, and then humans can be very strong, and we got some pretty good additions to it with Historic Horizons, with like the Ranger Captain of Eos and some other great stuff that's in there, and that Drannith Magistrate is really good against a lot of decks right now. There's just a lot of hate that Humans has that's good against a lot of stuff, and man, yeah, I've had a good time, and it's definitely like a deck that's more interactive, and you have to think about what you're doing. It's like fair Magic is what I felt like I was playing.
Absolutely,
with
it is.
It's very fair Magic, because I feel like a lot of decks right now are not playing fair Magic. They're playing like, I do ridiculous crap with my graveyard and like, just to cascade stuff out of my deck, and like it feels weird to play a deck that doesn't do any goddamn nonsense like that. But it's strong, and it's strong against those decks, which is what makes it work. Because if not, like, you just really can't play fair Magic in this current meta, it feels like, unless you're packing some heat against those kind of decks.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I mean, that's really all I've got to play. Anything else?
No, that's it.
Sweet, dude. All right, well, with that, then, we will move into our main phase.
Main Phase 1.
All right, in main phase 1 this week, we're going over some Innistrad spoilers that we think are going to be awesome in Historic, or at least, we're excited about. So let's start it off, in DrunkenDork. Take it away with your first pick.
All right, so my first pick is going to be Champion of the Perished. And we kind of talked about this card already, but it's 1 black mana for a creature, zombie at rare. And it says, whenever another zombie enters the battlefield under your control, put a +1/+1 counter on Champion of the Perished. And it is a 1/1. So I love this card. I really like that they kind of did a play on words with Champion of the Parish.
Yeah, cute.
And the freaking the card like looks sweet. I don't know how like potentially good it's going to be in Historic, but I think it's definitely going to be playable. Like, I know I've seen on Reddit people before talking about like zombie, like the possibility of playing zombies in Historic. And this has been a thing that's been on Reddit for, like since Historic's existence, where people are talking about it, because it's always just been like tier 3. Yeah. Right. Like not even tier 2. It's just been bad.
Yeah.
And I think with cards like Champion of the Parish, it's pushing zombie tribal in the right direction.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and it can really push like an aggressive zombie style deck. So I'm hoping this pushes it to at least tier 2. What do you think?
I think it will. And one thing that a tribal deck needs to have in the power level that Historic is at is powerful 1-drops, especially in something like black that doesn't have ramp. This is huge for zombies, I think, because this thing can get very large very quickly, especially with some of the other cards we're going to look at that can dump out a bunch of zombies onto the field. And there's some good lords for zombies. There's a bunch of good stuff, but like, it's just like, it doesn't have the ramp. It's not elves. It can't keep up with elves, right? For the most part. But now we're like, with this, you can get a huge beater out of a 1-drop, which is, I mean, insane. So I think this is definitely moving in the right direction to make a playable zombies deck. So
yes,
I love it.
Hopefully, yeah.
Yeah, I love it. I love zombies too. So, all right, cool. Speaking,
man, what's your card?
My card is also a zombie. I thought I'd keep it. Yeah, so mine is Tainted Adversary, which is a creature zombie, and it's a 2-drop at Mythic Rare. And for a 2-drop, it's a 2/3 with Death Touch, which is pretty solid stats, I think.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
I mean, for a Mythic, you hope it's at least somewhat decent. And it's got extra on top of that. So when Tainted Adversary enters the battlefield, you may pay 2 and a black. So 3 and any number of times. So it's kind of like a kicker, right? And then when you pay this cost 1 or more times, put that many 1/1 counters on Tainted Adversary, then create twice that many 2/2 black zombie creature tokens with decay. So this thing I think is really awesome compared with Champion of the Parish, because you're potentially getting a bunch of zombie tokens entering the battlefield all at once with this guy that are gonna boom 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 boom, like put a bunch of counters on him. This thing also gets bigger depending on the amount of times you kick it, and you get those decay zombie tokens, which that could be huge. This is a lot of potential zombies coming from one guy. So I think it's good in the early game because it's a pretty solid body that can help protect you. It's got death touch. It's 2/3 for 2 mana. And then in the late game, it also has playability when you have a bunch of lands. You're not upset to draw this when you have 8 mana because you're going to get a lot out of it. So I like the card. I think it's solid all around. And, I hope it goes well. In zombies. In zombies, I think it'll be solid. What do you think, Drunken?
I could actually see this in other things besides zombies. But, I do like it. I think, you summed it up perfectly. I think it's good in the beginning. It is a body. And then in the late game, it's not so bad. I like all the adversaries. Yeah. They all have this kicker effect on them. I don't know why the fuck they didn't just call it multi-kicker, but
who knows?
They're just, who knows? Anyway, I think it's cool. I don't think we've quite talked about the decayed effect. So a decayed creature, it can't block, and when it attacks, you have to sacrifice it at the end of combat. So that is the downfall of this is, you get a bunch of 2/2 zombies, but they can only attack once. So you need to do it at the right possible moment because they can't block anyway. Yeah. So you can't make a bunch of zombies for blockers. This is definitely going into an aggressive deck.
Yeah, there is a blue card that turns all your tokens into 3/3s. The Stitcher guy, I forget what it is. You flip it into a doll engine or something like that.
Oh, yeah, I saw that guy. Yeah,
it's another
the blue-black one, right?
Yeah, and I think that plays really well with the decays. But yeah, you'd have to play Dimir zombies, which is people love Dimir zombies, so maybe that'll be a thing with it as well. But yeah, the decays, right? Or maybe you want to sacrifice stuff, right? You might get death triggers or something out of it. So
that's true.
There's another great there's death in zombies is always a good thing.
Agreed.
Zombies take advantage of that. So decay could be really good for them if you plan it out right. All right, sweet. Next, Drunken, what do you got?
Okay, so this one is kind of weird. I picked this Curse of Shaken Faith. It is 1 and a red for an enchantment or a curse at rare. You don't see curses that often, and I think you almost never see them in constructed play. And it said enchant player. Whenever enchanted player casts a spell other than the first spell they cast each turn, or copies a spell, Curse of Shaken Faith deals 2 damage to them. So I really I like this card, and I don't think it's going to be a main board card. I picked this because I definitely think it's going to be a good sideboard card, especially looking at the meta right now. There's a lot of incredibly aggressive decks with things like Faithless Looting, like red decks with Faithless Looting.
Oh, yeah.
Red, blue, red, blue. There's a lot of green elf decks, which are just dumping their hands. Yep. So it punishes decks like that, and I think this is just going to be a good sideboard option for players who are trying to reanimate their phoenixes or do something like that. So that's why I picked this. And maybe my green-white enchantments will be deck will be a green-white-red enchantments deck, and it'll be something like this. Okay. That goes in and actually punishes my opponents.
Yeah, that's cool, man. Against those decks, this is devastating. If anyone tries to storm off, right, this will kill them. Unless they're able to actually deal with you before this kills them. One card can kill somebody doing storm easily. So I like it. It's an anti-strategy card, which is always cool. And then if something starts popping up in the meta that becomes a high contender, this could be great against it. I love anti cards like this. So good pick.
So do I. Prism style cards. Hey, fuck you for trying to play an unfair deck.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, you think you're you're not playing fair magic. Let's fix that. So yeah, pretty sweet. This is a cool card. Especially if you're playing burn or something too, right? You really
it's a great sideboard option for burn for sure.
Crazy. All right, sweet. Let's go to next, and this is my pick, which is Faithful Mending. which is it's a 2-cost card in an instant. It is Azorius, which is white and a blue, and it's uncommon. In an instant, you gain 2 life, draw 2 cards, then discard 2 cards. So this is Faithless Looting, basically, but you draw 2 life, or you gain 2 life, right? And it also has Flashback, which is 3. It's 1 colorless and then a white and a blue. So it's the flashback cost is almost exactly the same. Of course, it's a little more restricted than Faithless Looting because this is Azorius colors. You need to have the white and the blue. So the mana is more restricted, and it's
and it's 2 mana.
It's
right?
2 for the initial casting cost of it. The flashback is almost the same cost, but you also gain 2 life. So it is better in that way than Faithless Looting. But it's the exact same thing. You draw 2 cards and then discard 2 cards. And this is in Azorius. So this is not, you don't even have to run red to be able to get this effect. So I think this is, a pretty significant card because Faithless Looting is crazy. And if you want to play that card and you are not running red and you're running Azorius, which Azorius loves to draw cards, right? And get rid of stuff. So, and then having the flashback ability with it too. I absolutely think this is going to see play. What do you think, Drunken?
So first I want to mention, I think it was CY in our Discord, which if you are not part of our Discord, you should join our Discord. It's a bunch of cool dudes and ladies who talk about Historic specifically all the time. We have deck lists and stuff in there. But I think it was CY in our Discord. I think that was who it was. Who's like, oh man, this is like, I'm in love with this card. Because this card, it looks really sweet. I definitely think we're going to see it in Historic. I really like the flashback on it, that it only adds 1 more colorless mana to it. It's just something interesting because you don't see this effect on white and blue like often. So I just really like it for that aspect.
I like the gain 2 life with it too. It's like it's
great. Yeah.
I mean, it's Faithless Looting with gaining 2 life, and it's at instant speed. So it's, that is better. Faithless Looting is a sorcery, right? So this is even better.
So you pay the extra mana initially for the instant speed, basically.
Yeah.
And it's like, so the blue part of this card is drawing 2, discarding 2, and the white part of this card is gaining 2 life, which is so fucking measly, but that's the reality of it.
Hey man, right? 2 life can keep you alive a lot of the time.
It really does, though. Yeah. It really does.
And this is potentially 4 life. So I think this card's really good. I mean, in Control needs this, I think, because Control is kind of suffering, I feel like, in Historic right now. It just can't really keep up with the craziness going on. So, it might help out Control. I'm not really a big Control player, but I do see the potential in this card. So next, Drunken, another curse from you, man.
So here I am with another curse. Like I said, these aren't ever played in, fucking constructed matches, but I'm gonna pick another one because it's good and we've talked about it before. It's Curse of Silence for 1 white mana, and it's enchantment or a curse. Enchant player, as Curse of Silence enters the battlefield, choose a card name. Spells with the chosen name enchanted player casts cost 2 more to cast. Whenever enchanted player casts a spell with the chosen name, you may sacrifice Curse of Silence. If you do, draw a card. So I really like this. I don't think it fits well in all sideboards, but I think it fits well in some sideboards, and I actually do think it fits well in main boards and best of 1. In certain decks, because like you can kind of like, the meta is kind of known, unless you're playing against like some new brew or something. It's going to be like one of many decks that you see on the ladder, and I think it just works well. It really slows down your opponent for Tybalt's Trickery's sake. Like, when they go to play that, whatever the Cascade card is called. What is that called?
Throes of Chaos. Not Theros. Not Theros and not Theories. Yeah, Throes of Chaos, yes.
Okay, so when someone goes to play Throes of Chaos, if this is out before they play it, then Throes of Chaos now costs 6 mana. And then when they do cast it, you can sacrifice it and draw a card, like... that's really good for 1 mana.
Yeah.
I think you're going to actually see this card kind of a bit, maybe not in best of 1 so much, but I think in best of 3, you're going to see it sideboarded in, because it's going to slow down some opponents like really bad.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think this is really good. Also, in I like Orzhov, obviously, if you look at my little symbol up there. But in Orzhov deck, because if you can see your opponent's hand too, and then figure out, even if it's an unknown deck to you, right, you can get the use out of this. You can discard something, and then something else that's in their hand that's possibly troubling to you. Boom, you drop this, right? And once again, these are 1-drop cards, and 1-drops in Historic are essential. Like, this is a high power deck, so being able to make those early plays to stop somebody's later plays, huge. So I absolutely think this is great, and it's a super good hate card, so it's right up your alley. I like it.
So here we go. Turn 1 Thoughtseize, turn 2 Curse of Silence, and Thoughtseize again.
or Kozilek or whatever. And then concede, right?
Yeah, basically, yeah.
The other person's ripping their hair out.
Yes. Love it.
I think it's great. This is a good pick, man.
Yeah.
All right, cool. Let's move on then. My next pick is Adeline Resplendent Cathar, which is a 3-drop. It is 1 and 2 white for a legendary creature human knight at rare, and it is star 4 for its power and toughness. So it has vigilance, and Adeline Resplendent Cathar's power is equal to the number of creatures you control. Whenever you attack, for each opponent, so mainly like, commander, unless they ever add multiplayer to, arena, create a 1/1 white human creature token that's tapped and attacking that player or planeswalker they control. So this has echoes of Brimaz, King of Orsko. Man, I'm not even going to try that. We already know my reading ability. It's a Brimaz, which was back from the
Oreskos.
Oreskos. There we go. He's from the Theros block, and he was a $50 card when he dropped. And I think there's a lot of comparisons that you can make with Brimaz and Adeline here. They both have the exact same casting cost. Their stats are very similar, except for Adeline could actually have much higher attack power than Brimaz can, depending on how many creatures you have. Now, the downside is that Brimaz got a creature also while he's blocking, and the cat creatures that he got had vigilance. Okay, now where I think Adeline is better than Brimaz is if you look at the text on the bottom part, it says whenever you attack. Not whenever Brimaz, Brimaz had to attack or block to get the creature. You don't have to attack with Adeline to get the human creature token. So you can attack with anything, a flying creature, whatever, and you get that human.
Yeah.
So I think Adeline is better in that way because you can immediately start getting value out of her the second you drop her, because neither of these have haste, so you can immediately start getting that human creature token the second that Adeline comes down, and then she can become potentially gigantic. So I really like this card. What do you think, Drunken?
Yeah, I do like it. I'm interested to see where this will fit into Historic. It is 3 mana and it's 2 white. So maybe in a white weenie style deck, which we haven't seen in a while. It's existed in Historic.
Yeah.
It's just been a while since we've seen something like that because, really green red just overthrows that deck. But maybe this will be a piece that'll help propel it forward. The only problem I have with it is it dies to removal, and it doesn't have haste.
It doesn't.
That's my main problem.
But you do get that. If you have another creature on the board, which if you're playing white weenies, you will. You'll get that human creature token if you attack, right?
Yeah.
So it doesn't need to attack to actually get it. So that's where I think really the power of this is that whenever you attack. Now, also, it's human, and like you were saying, I was just playing humans this week, and they're very strong. Actually, they have a lot of good utility with them, and like they have a lot of good hate with them too. Like, what's his name? The the guy that stops you from casting things outside of your hand, and containment priest, and there's all this. There's a lot of really good humans right now. That are coming in, and so I think Adeline kind of slots right into that deck perfectly. I definitely understand what you're saying with that, the downside of that, but yeah, I like it. I think.
Yeah, we'll see. I'm hoping it. Yeah, I'm hoping it does great. Like, I would like to see a resurgence of White Weenie. It's a fun deck to play. It's good. It's fast.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's a lot of.
It has potential to be fast, at least.
Yeah, there's some good human stuff coming in with this set too. So hopefully we see some some humans popping up again. I always like some good tribal with some tricks to them. So
absolutely.
All right, so that was main phase 1. We're gonna split this up in between main phase 1 and 2. So with that, let's move into our combat phase.
Dorkish combat.
And combat is our horseshit card game. So take it away, Drunken.
All right, everyone. So this is the horseshit card game. This is a game where I name 5 magic cards. Thing is, 4 of them are in historic, and 1 of them isn't. And it's up to this drunken idiot and all you idiots out there to figure out which one of these cards is not in historic. So Hoshi, having not looked at this yet, you've done pretty good so far. You lost last week, though.
I did.
That one was mine. I get it. I'm claiming it. It was me.
Yeah, that was painful. Definitely blew to my ego.
I need a fucking tiara or something to wear. How you feeling this week?
I don't know. I mean, I'm feeling a little shaken after last week. I felt invincible before that, but now I've known defeat. So I don't know. We'll see.
Well, I got good news for you, buddy.
Oh yeah, what's that?
Orzhov is your favorite color, so I decided color combination. So I decided to go with Orzhov cards.
Ooh.
So maybe you'll know them all, right? Like potentially. I mean, you're the fucking Orzhov king according to you. So
maybe
if you don't, you're really letting down you're really letting Orzhov down.
I guess so. So well, fuck it. Okay. All right, let's go, dude. You ready?
All right, here we go. So the first card is going to be Veiled Shade. It is 2 and a black for a creature shade. And it has an ability that is 1 and a black. Veiled Shade gets +1/+1 until end of turn, and it is a 2/2.
Okay.
Next is Congregate. It is 3 and a white for an instant, and it says target player gains 2 life for each creature on the battlefield. The third one is Star Crown Stag. It is 3 and a white for a creature elk. It says whenever Star Crown Stag attacks, tap target creature defending player controls, and it is a 3/3. The fourth one is Sorcerer of the Fang. It is 1 and a black for a creature human wizard, and it has 5 and a black tap. Sorcerer of the Fang deals 2 damage to target opponent or planeswalker, and it is a 1/3. And then finally, we have Utility Knife. For 1 colorless mana, it is an artifact equipment. When Utility Knife enters the battlefield, attach it to target creature you control. Equip creature gets +1/+1, and it has Equip 3. So, what are we thinking over there, Hoshi?
All right, so initially I'm feeling Veiled Shade, I think is in. Star Crown Stag, I think is in. Utility Knife, I'm pretty solid on. Where I'm faltering is in between Sorcerer of the Fang and Congregate. But Sorcerer of the Fang seems like I might have seen that before. Where Congregate, I don't know. Like, I obviously don't recognize the art from it or the actual card itself because it's bad. And I don't see anyone playing this. But I think.
I mean, which one of these cards is good?
I mean, they're all bad, yeah. But I don't recognize these ones, so I think I'm gonna go with Congregate though. That's the one that screams that I have no fucking clue or ever seen this before. So That's what I'm congregate. Final answer.
Congregate, Hoshi's final answer. I hope you all are guessing out there and got it right, because once again, I am the fucking idiot here. You got it right, buddy. Congregate is not in Historic. Yeah, it's a piece of shit card. It's a trash card. I have seen this card so many times. I played so much, I have played so much draft from, I think it was it's been in so many sets.
Okay.
And I feel like I just always saw this stupid ass card. Yeah, it sucks.
It's real bad.
It's terrible. Yeah, it's so bad. Yeah. I thought maybe you had seen it as much as me, so you'd be like, "Oh yeah, fucking Congregate, I see this all the time."
No,
but no, in reality, no, I'm just a big old dumb. Where's my dunce cap? I need to have a tiara and a dunce cap for when I get it right and wrong.
Yes, we need to make that happen. Or if anyone's got a good dunce cap out there that they know of, send it our way that we can stick on Drunken for.
Please.
Great. Well, how'd you guys do? I hope you guys got it right along with me. Let us know, and let's move on to main phase 2.
Main phase 2.
All right, so this is the other part of our spoilers. So let's hop right back into it. Drunken, take it away.
All right. So my first card here is going to be Hostile. So this is a land at Mythic, and it taps for 1 colorless mana, and then also has an ability that says 1 colorless mana, tap, sacrifice a creature, put a soul counter on hostile. Then if there are 3 or more soul counters on it, remove these counters, transform it, then untap it. Activate only as a sorcery. Oof. And then let me go to the transform side. That's going to be Creeping In. So Creeping In is an artifact creature horror construct. Mm-hmm. It's quite a mouthful.
Yeah.
Whenever Creeping In attacks, you may exile a creature card from your graveyard. If you do, each opponent loses X life and you gain X life, where X is the number of creature cards exiled with Creeping In. And it has one more ability here. It is 4 colorless mana. Creeping In phases out. Which is actually really cool because it kind of protects itself. Mm-hmm. And Creeping In is a 3/7. So the reason I picked this card is it definitely doesn't fit in every deck. No. But I think there are a small amount of decks that this would fit well in. And that's something like artifacts. I think this will fit well in.
Okay.
Something where you're not using like a whole lot of colored mana, like white, blue artifacts. Mm-hmm. Or another one is going to be like Sakdos. You know, I think it works in something like that, of course, where it'll put on the counters on this pretty quickly if you're sacrificing your creatures. And it's just another sack outlet to do, the shenanigans that Sakdos wants to do. And the creature just seems good, like I said, 4 mana to protect itself. Mm-hmm. And then it's also like having other abilities of having your opponent lose life, which I think in the artifact aggro deck, that's where this works well, because like it at like mid to late game, if your opponents are starting to pick off your creatures, if you have the mana, you can sack them in response, and then you can turn this into a creature and finish them off.
So the problem with this, I don't know if you noticed it, was the sacrifice ability of the land is activate only as a sorcery.
Yeah, so sacrifice a creature, you can do anytime though. But yeah, to become for the land to become a creature, you have to do it at sorcery speed.
Oh, okay, and then untap it. It's I'm not sure if it is or not. It's not very like intuitive because it all looks like one thing. So I don't know. We'll have to actually check.
Only as a sorcery.
Yeah,
oh, maybe you're right.
I think it might be
counter on hostile.
Yeah. So if that's true, I don't.
No, yeah. Then if there are 3 or more soul counters on it, remove the counters. Tap it. Activate. Oh, maybe you're right.
I can't. It's not very clear on that, as whether it's it's the second part of it that's activated only as a sorcery, or if it's the
here we are hosting a podcast and we're just fucking awful. Someone will correct us. We'll figure it out. We'll go to our Discord.
Okay.
And we'll go ask someone there.
I think it is.
They'll
so
know.
All right. Well, I mean, it seems cool. It would be much better if it's sacrificed at instant speed. Then if not, I don't think it's going to be super usable. Unless
if it's not, I also don't think so. I think you can, though. I think you can sacrifice them at instant speed. I don't think you can transform it, though.
Hopefully
I don't know. Who knows? We'll figure it out.
All right, then. Well, my next pick is going to be Brutal Cathar. And this is a 3-drop. It's 2 and a white for a creature, human soldier werewolf at rare. And he is a 2/2. And he has, when this creature enters the battlefield or transforms into Brutal Cathar, exile target creature an opponent controls until this creature leaves the battlefield, and it's daybound. So this card seems super good to me. I got echoes of Banisher Priest with this, but a better version of it. It's actually less restrictive in the mana than Banisher Priest because it's only 2 and a single white to cast this, and you have the potential to exile multiple creatures with this through the transforming. So this is daybound. So when it turns into nightbound, it becomes this werewolf that then has ward, and your opponent would have to pay 3 life to be able to actually target this thing. And it would have first strike if that it gets better stats. But then if it turns back into Brutal Cathar again, like so if it goes back to day, you get to exile another creature with it. So I don't know. I'm not completely sold on like the day and night kind of mechanic here, but what do you think, Drunken?
So yeah, I do like this, and I do like the day and night mechanic actually. It's like you said. We've seen things like this before. It's not just Banisher Priest, but there's been other cards. And, they've always like proven to be like decent. I like the fact that it's not like 2 of the same color mana. And I actually really like the transform. It does something interesting here. So when it becomes the transformed werewolf, it has first strike and then it has ward pay 3 life. And this is just really taxing to an opponent. So this kind of card fits really well in like an aggressive style hate bears or death and taxes deck where sure, you go and you exile them, but you're also coming in and hitting them, and if they want their shit back, they're gonna have to potentially pay 3 life if this thing transforms. So I really like it. I think this is a good pick. And then I definitely think we're gonna see it.
Yeah, and then we also have, Containment Priest and that kind of stuff that slots into humans, so it slots in there. And then, so if they even do kill it, right, and it enters the battlefield again, and if you have something like Containment Priest, it just gets exiled. This can just be straight removal if you have the right cards to play around with this thing. I think it's super powerful in the right kind of deck. All right, so next, and your last pick, DrunkenDork. Go ahead.
So I just want to say real quick, we also have cards like Delver of Secrets and Pithing Needle in the format, but I think both Hoshi and I want to pick new cards coming in, like that are brand new to Magic's existence, and talk about them coming into Historic. Like, I think we both agree that Delver of Secrets and Pithing Needle are going to be used in the format.
Absolutely, yeah. Those are honorable mentions for sure. Also, the other one that I wanted to talk about was the Play with Fire, which is just a better shock. That is absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
It's the new shock, it's like, but those are just like kind of honorable mentions. They're not super interesting. They're just, they're coming in and they're awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, they are. But with that, my final one, Sun Gold Sentinel, it is 1 and a white for a creature, human, soldier, another human. And it says, whenever Sun Gold Sentinel enters the battlefield or attacks, exile up to 1 target card from a graveyard. Which is a good ability.
Oh yeah,
because it is a 3/2, but that's not it. It says Coven 1 and a white, and it says so for this ability. It says choose a color. Sun Gold Sentinel gains hexproof from that color until end of turn and can't be blocked by creatures of the color this turn. Activate only if you control 3 or more creatures with different powers. So that is the Coven ability. We haven't talked about it yet. We haven't talked about any abilities that this set is coming in. But Coven, basically, if you have 3 creatures with different powers on the battlefield, that's when it triggers. And I really like this, especially in something like you already said, a white like human weenie deck, or possibly like a white black Death and Taxes or white green Hate Bears, like something like that. I think it fits in really well into there because you do have a lot of different powers in those decks, like not a lot, but 1, 2, and 3, and you have a big variance between those 3. So the odds are that you're going to have one of each out is pretty high. And the fact that you can just swing in and get hexproof and protection is really good. Protection is really, really strong in Magic. So I like that a lot.
Yeah, it seems great. I'm just not completely sure on how Coven, like what they consider to be different powers. Does that mean an activated ability that they have, or is it just a different card? Like I haven't.
So it's whatever's on the board at that moment. So the current board state. So say you have a card that gets +2/+0 every time you cast an instant or sorcery.
Okay.
And normally it's a 2/2. So if you cast an instant or sorcery, then it is a 4/2. And so that is a different power. And then if you have a 1/3 and then a 2/2, then there's a 3 different ones, not even counting itself. She counts herself.
Yeah.
So
cool.
I think it's not too hard to achieve. And I think just on its own, being able to attack in and exile cards is really powerful in the format right now. Exiling graveyard is just like one of the best things you can do in our format, I think.
Yeah, one of the most broken places in Magic is the graveyard. And there's a lot of good humans. Like I've been playing... that like Orzhov Commander guy with the mustache and stuff. He's a legendary creature where he comes in and he exiles something from, I can't remember his name right now, but yeah, and he's like, it's so many times it's come in clutch to play him and just start like taking out your opponent's graveyard. So another card that does that in humans is amazing.
You know what I liked about all of the humans or the creatures we've named so far? I think every creature we've named has been human. I'm pretty sure, but they all get hit from collected company.
Oh yeah. And there's some pretty good like human synergies with a Selesnya this time too. So I mean the Angel Sigarda and all that stuff. There's a lot of good like Selesnya human stuff going on in this one. I'm not sure if it'll be worth it to make a deck out of them to switch out, but we'll see. It might. Anything else on Sun Gold?
Nope.
Wait. All right, my last pick is Lyre, Disciple of the Drowned, and it is a 5-drop, which is a lot, but it is 3 and 2 blue for a legendary human wizard at Mythic Rare. It's a 3/4 and it has spells can't be countered. Not this spell, not your opponent's spells, just spells. Spells can't be countered with this card so I believe that includes this card when you're casting it. Because normally it says this spell can't be countered. But if it's just saying spells can't be countered, then I assume that, this falls into that. And then...
No, it doesn't.
No?
So it has to be on the battlefield, and then spells can't be countered.
Okay. Are you sure about that?
100%, because that text isn't, like, visible to the board state until it's on the board.
Okay. I'm not sure about that, because that's the same thing as, like, Chandra, where it says this spell can't be countered. That's not visible to the board state either.
Yeah, if it says this spell can't be countered, then that's different. I'm almost positive. Yeah, because it's just a static ability on the card that or a static text. I'm pretty sure, that this can't be countered.
I don't know. We'll have to let us know in the comments if you know for sure about this, but I'm pretty sure it's included in that.
Okay.
And then it also has each instant and sorcery card in your graveyard, once again, graveyard stuff, has flashback. And the flashback cost is equal to that card's mana cost, which is nuts because flashback is usually more expensive than the normal casting cost of the card. And so to give everything in your graveyard flashback and at a reduced cost is bonkers, I think. This is a 5-drop, so you're going to have some stuff in there by that time. And then being able to have your stuff not be countered that you're casting out of your graveyard, especially if you're playing against a counterspell heavy decks. I think this, you know what, I wouldn't normally include something that's like a 5-drop like this unless you're playing like some type of control strategy. And even if you are playing counters, there's a good amount of counters that are in our format that you can cycle as well. So I think you still can play counters with this creature, but just have cycle counters. Huh? No, I mean, you can have them in your deck, but if you have this guy out, right, and you draw a counter card, cycle it out of your hand, so it's not a dead card anymore, right? And then you can get something else, right? So I think you still can use counters in this deck, just like the ones that have cycling that you can get rid of. So I think it's cool. What do you think, Drunken?
I think it's cool. I am not a huge fan of this card, but I'm glad you picked it because I think it's an interesting card. Because each instant and sorcery card in your graveyard has flashback is always good.
Yeah.
And the flashback cost is equal to the card's mana cost. That is cool. I just think for 5 mana, it's really steep for our format. So
I agree.
I just don't know if we're going to see this like at all, if not in some like really obscure weird decks. But I look forward to seeing those obscure weird decks, and I hope they do cool shit.
I think it could be cool in like Dimir, basically, you know, where you
like an end piece.
Yeah, because like basically you drop this thing, and if you got a bunch of instants and sorceries, you just turned your graveyard literally into your hand. At that point, you know, you can recast everything at this exact same casting cost from your graveyard. So I think this is like, you know, as a 5-drop, I normally wouldn't include this, but it's just that second ability of this is so nutty, like, you know, and they can't counter anything at that point. I think it's crazy. So anyways, that was,
you know, it works really good against this card.
Kill spells, I guess. What's that?
Yeah, well, that does too. Yeah. But Sun Gold Sentinel works real good against this card because it just starts exiling shit out of the graveyard.
That's true. Graveyard Hate is always good to play in Historic, because of insane things like this. You know, so. All right, that was main phase 2. Those are some cards that we think are gonna, you know, possibly have an impact in Historic, or at the very least are interesting and impactful. And with that, we'll move into our end step.
End step.
And it looks like, you know,
never gets old.
Yeah, it looks like we're running a little long again, and you know, Apollo's not here.
How long are we running? Because I have something to talk about. Actually.
Oh no, go ahead then. Yeah.
Okay. Something really fucking bizarre.
Okay.
All right. I think it's safe to say most people like sandwiches, right? This is a weird question.
What?
But, yeah.
Okay.
Right? Like,
I'll play along.
You like a good tasty sandwich?
Sure. Yeah.
Okay. My wife does not like fucking sandwiches, dude. I don't know what's wrong with her, dude. How do you just not like sandwiches, dude? They're like they're some of the tastiest things out there. They're simple, but it's just like good, you know, comfort food.
Yeah, what?
Anyway, I just wanted to throw that out there, man. Weird as hell. Like, you find out things about your loved ones every day, new things. Yeah. And I found that out, and I was like, you just blew my goddamn mind.
Yeah.
And we may have to get divorced now. Like that. I'm going on record.
You just found that out? How have you not? You guys eat a lot too. You guys go out all the time. Like, have you not like come across like, you know, a fucking sandwich?
Well, it was really like I just notice it over time, you know. It's like, hey, let's go get something to eat. I'd be like, oh, a sandwich sounds good. And she's like, nah. I'm like, oh, okay, cool. Yeah, just don't feel like it. And then like I'd say it again. You know, it's a process of elimination. She's like, no. And then finally I'm like, you know, after a long ass time of like being married and shit, I'm like, do you not like sandwiches? And she's like, yeah, you know, no. I'm like, what the fuck?
Just all sandwiches.
Anyway.
All sandwiches.
Yeah.
What?
I mean, not all, but she just generally does not want them. So, or like them. So I don't know. She's got problems, man.
That's like not liking pizza. I don't.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
I want to move on from
this realization blew my fucking mind.
Yeah.
Like,
it's like I don't want to I want to move on from this, but it's really like hurting my brain as well. I don't. Okay.
I thought I'd just bring this up real quick because it's just like it's been bothering me. It's been eating away at me, and I think it's like for the rest of my life, this is gonna eat away at me. Like,
yeah,
she doesn't like sandwiches.
Yeah, I mean she's great, but I mean if you left her because of this, I think I would understand. You know?
Yeah, I think it's understandable.
Yeah.
I think I just have to make her understand.
I think so. I'm kidding, Mary. I'm kidding, but yeah. I mean. Therapy. I suggest. I suggest therapy. There's something.
Yeah, absolutely.
Something there. All right. Well, that was fucking weird. So let's move into our cleanup phase.
Cleanup.
Cleanup is social media promos. So take it away, Drunken.
Okay, so this is where I just go through and tell you all our social media promos. Thing is, recently, and when I say recently, over this past week or weekend, I've been trying to consolidate all of our social media shit so it's more searchable, easier to find. So basically now you can just look up Mana Rant and you will find us. Before we were going by the Mana Dorks when our podcast first started, it was the Mana Dorks podcast. Our opening still says Mana Dorks podcast. I am going to change it soon. It's just a matter of having the time to do it. So I know this is very long-winded, but you can find us on Spotify, iTunes, any type of audio app. If you search Mana Rant, you can find, if you aren't watching this live on Twitch right now, you can find us on Twitch if you search Mana Rant. You can find us on YouTube if you search Mana Rant or Mana Dorks, but now I think we're more searchable under Mana Rant. You can join our Discord, which I will probably put a little animation in our YouTube video. Mm-hmm. I don't have it on me what our Discord invite is, but yeah, if it's searchable, it's under Mana Rant.
It'll be in the links too, yeah.
Yeah, it'll be in the links.
But cool. Thanks for staying with us through all this. We're terrible at marketing. We have no idea what we're doing. So we've been kind of figuring this out as we go along, and so we're kind of switching to something that there was a whole bunch of other like Mana Dorks out there, which we didn't realize once we kind of like took this on. I think Mana Rant is just kind of better for the way to go forward. So now we are going to move into our discard phase.
Discard phase. Drink them up, boys.
You heard the lady. So discard is where we, finish the rest of our drinks that we had. So, thanks everybody for joining us on this episode of Mana Rant, and hopefully we'll see you guys next week. And, cheers to everybody out there. Cheers to you, DrunkenDork.
Like always, thank you very much, and cheers, everyone. See you next week, hopefully.
Yep. All right, guys.
All right.
Peace out.